16 years of construction, 8 million bricks, and a 13-ton bell that cracked twice before it could ring. This crack has echoed across London for over 160 years. The sound of engineering pushed to its absolute limits. A crack that became a voice. Built from the inside out. No external scaffolding. No workers visible from the outside. The tower simply rose from the earth. Materials lifted through its own heart.
On this day in 1843, they laid the first stone of what would become Britain's most iconic structure.
The first stone. The beginning of 16 years of human determination.
Workers excavated 4 meters through London clay to create the foundation bed.
3.7 meters of solid concrete would form the foundation raft, an engineering decision ahead of its time.
Each pour compacted by hand to eliminate air pockets. Layer by layer, the raft took shape. The foundation spreads the tower's immense weight across 225 square meters of London earth. Limestone traveled by boat from Yorkshire, 85 cubic meters to clad the tower's exterior.
Pugin's Gothic vision demanded hand-carved details. Every stone, a work of art in itself. Augustus Pugin's Gothic masterplan. Every detail sketched by hand before a single brick was laid. Hundreds of carved stones, each one a masterpiece, waiting to dress the tower in Gothic splendor.
Stone-fitted stone, Gothic pattern meeting Gothic pattern, a cathedral dressed in Yorkshire limestone.
The first course of bricks established the tower's geometry. 1 millimeter of error would multiply 986 times over. Flemish bond, the strongest brick pattern known, gave the tower walls unmatched structural integrity.
Each brick locked into the next. Flemish bond, the pattern that held an empire's tower together.
1 millimeter of error at the base would multiply 986 times over by the top. Perfection was not optional. Every brick measured, every joint checked. The tower demanded perfection at every single course.
The staircase, weight shaft, and ventilation system rose together. The tower built as a single integrated machine.
No scaffolding touched the exterior. Materials rose through the heart of the tower itself.
Steam power lifted 2,600 cubic meters of brick to workers high above London's streets.
Ton after ton of brick, lifted by steam, carried upward through the tower's own bones.
Every fifth course, engineers verified the walls remained precisely vertical. No lean permitted.
A plumb bob, a string, the difference between a tower and a ruin.
850 cubic meters of Yorkshire limestone would hide the brick core behind Gothic elegance.
Brick for strength, stone for beauty. Iron cramps married the two into a single, weatherproof wall. Iron cramps, the hidden marriage between brick and stone, forged in fire, locked in place forever. Every few days, the gantry rose, quiet, jacked higher as the tower grew beneath the workers' feet. Cast iron beams carried the tower's brick floors blood. Victorian industrial precision meeting traditional masonry. 11 floors of cast iron and brick tied the tower's walls together, preventing any lateral movement.
Herringbone brick floors between iron beams created the 11 levels where the clock's keepers would work.
334 cantilevered steps wound through the tower's corner, each stone supporting only itself and air. 334 steps, each one carved from stone, each one holding nothing but faith in engineering. At 55 meters, the clock face level.
4 openings of 7 meters across, soon to hold the most famous clock faces in the world.
Denton's gravity escapement, the heart of the clock, would keep time to within 1 second per day.
The escapement. The mechanism that would govern London's time for over 160 years.
A 200-kilogram pendulum of steel and zinc, engineered to beat precisely twice per second, forever.
Twice per second. Every second. Forever.
3 gear trains, one for time, one for striking, one for chiming, each machine to tolerances measured in thousandths.
Weights totaling nearly 3 tons would fall through the tower's heart, powering the clock for a week between windings. Once a week, strong hands would wind the weights back up, the ritual that kept London on time.
Iron frames, 7 meters across. Jabs James of Lambeth created the massive canvas for Britain's most famous faces.
1,300 pieces of opal glass, assembled like a cathedral window, to show time across London.
Opal glass. The material that would turn a clock face into a glowing moon over London.
Hands 4 meters long, weighing exactly 100 kilograms each, counterbalanced to move through wind and rain.
100 kilograms of iron, balanced to a hair's breadth. The hands that would point London's way through time.
5 tons of precision machinery rolled through London, the world's most accurate clock, en route to its tower.
The most delicate lift of the entire project, 5 tons rising 55 meters, without a single bump. Into position. The clock mechanism took its place where it would tick for over 160 years. Nearly 3 tons of iron weights, hanging in the tower's heart, ready to fall for a century.
7 meters of iron and glass, the first dial rose to take its place, facing north, across London. Queen Victoria's name inscribed around a dial, destined to outlast her reign.
East, west, all 4 faces installed. The tower could finally show time in every direction.
Concentric shafts. Precision bearings. The mechanism must move 8 hands against London's weather.
400 kilograms of hands per dial, engineered to move through every storm London could deliver.
Gas lamps behind opal glass. The clock faces would glow through London's darkest nights.
4 glowing moons over London. The dials visible for miles, marking time through the darkest nights.
May 31st, 1859. The first tick of a clock that would count time for over a century.
The first tick. The first tock. London's time had begun.
The clock that would not stop. Not for wars. Not for storms. Not for over 160 years.
London looked up. London set its watches. The tower became the heartbeat of a nation.
16 tons of bronze, taking the shape of Britain's voice, poured from clay and fire.
From clay and fire emerged the largest bell in Britain. But its true test still awaited. The first strike rang across London. Britain had its voice.
But within months, a 1-meter crack silenced Britain's bell. The greatest bell in the country, broken.
Blame flew between designer and founder. But one thing was certain. The bell must be recast.
Whitechapel Bell Foundry, makers of bells since 1570, accepted Britain's greatest bell-making challenge.
The finest bell founders in Britain. 280 years of experience. One chance to get it right.
April 1858. 13 tons of bronze flowed into the mold that would become Big Ben.
Smaller, but perfect. 13.7 tons of bronze emerged, ready to ring for centuries.
The strike that proved it. A clear, true tone. Britain's new voice was born.
16 white horses pulled 13 tons through cheering crowds. London welcomed its new voice. London cheered. The bell that would become the voice of a nation, rolling through the streets.
13 tons would have to rise outside the tower, then swing into the belfry. The greatest lift in London's history was about to begin. 13 tons, 55 meters, outside the tower.
Inch by agonizing inch, the heaviest bell in Britain rose toward its eternal home. 13 tons of bronze rising through London's air. The city holding its breath.
At 55 meters, the bell turned toward an opening just barely larger than itself.
The tightest fit of the entire project, inches of clearance. 13 tons of bronze threading a needle. Through the arch, the bell entered its belfry, where it would remain for over 160 years. Fixed in place forever. Big Ben would never swing, only receive the hammer's strike.
4 quarter bells joined Big Ben. Their combined notes would create the most famous chime on Earth.
Cables linked clock to bells. When the mechanism released, London would hear time announced.
The 200-kilogram hammer, the striker that would wake London every single hour. July 11th, 1859. Big Ben's voice rang across London for the first time.
London heard its voice. For the first time, a bell spoke for an entire nation.
The chime that would become the sound of Britain itself.
Months after first striking, a crack appeared. Big Ben's voice changed, but did not die.
That imperfect tone, that crack, it would become the most recognized sound on Earth.
The engineers rotated the bell, the crack moved, and Big Ben rang on, as if nothing had happened.
Big Ben became the sound of London, the sound of home, the sound of Britain.
160 years of striking. The crack remains. And so does the voice.
Above the stone, cast iron would rise another 35 meters, the Gothic crown of Britain's clock tower. Cast iron from Lambeth, Jabs J Metalwork, would crown the tower at 96 meters.
Hundreds of Gothic iron tiles, each hand-finished, transforming structural iron into architectural poetry.
Iron became art. Every tile a testament to Victorian craftsmanship. Gold leaf on iron. The tower's crown would catch sunlight, visible from across the Thames.
England, Scotland, Ireland, Wales, united on one tower.
The airing light, a beacon to show London that Parliament was in session, after dark.
The prison room. Even law-breaking members of Parliament would feel the tower's Gothic authority.
Below the clock, archival rooms would protect parliamentary records from fire that destroyed the old palace.
16 years of work. And now, the final inspection.
Every brick, every gear, every bell verified. 16 years of work faced its final test. 3 decimal pennies atop the pendulum. Each coin adjusts the clock by 2/5 of a second per day.
A penny, 2/5 of a second. The smallest coin, the finest adjustment. Victorian precision.
The gantry descended, and London finally saw the complete tower that would define their city.
London saw it, and London stopped. The tower that would define a city, standing in full glory. 16 years.
And this moment,
London cheered for the tower that belonged to all of them.
After 16 years of dust, the Yorkshire limestone emerged, sand gold and gleaming.
It became Parliament's grounds. The tower, now framed by Barry's Gothic vision.
Together, the greatest Gothic building Britain ever made.
Hand winding every week. The ritual that kept the clock alive. Bells chiming every quarter hour.
Every quarter hour, the chime. The sound that would organize London's days for over 160 years.
The tower was ready for eternal duty. And it has never stopped.
From that first official strike, London set its watches by the bell they called Big Ben.
Decades passed. London transformed again and again, while one tower kept perfect time.
Through fire and falling bombs, Big Ben struck on.
Its chime crossed borders and battle lines, reminding the world Britain still stood. Wars, crowns, revolutions, the clock never stopped. The bells were never silenced. From landmark to global icon, photographed by millions, recognized everywhere.
In 2022, history was peeled back, the largest restoration ever begun.
The same tools.
The same pennies.
The same precision, unchanged since 1859.
Every generation discovers it anew. The wonder never fades. The tower never ages.
Every hour, every day, the chime that will not stop.
96 meters of Victorian ambition. The tower that became Britain's voice.
Time moves on. The tower moves with it. And neither one will ever truly stop.